Hi, ni hao. My name is Kyle and I run sensiblechinese.com, a blog for helping you learn Chinese more efficiently. Are you struggling with the Chinese characters? I want to talk to you about why this is and what you can do about it. Chances are the methods that you are using today are old-fashioned and they're holding you back. The first weeks or even months of Chinese are brutal. There's a lot to deal with all at the same time. First up you have pronunciation. Shi, si, ci, for example. Then we overlay the tones. Ma, 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 ma. At first, all of this sounds very strange, very unfamiliar. Even your first ni hao is a pain. 2 third tones with a tone change just to say hello. Learning characters on top of all of this is a nightmare. But this is the normal procedure, to drop you straight in at the deep end with pronunciation, tones and the characters first week, sink or swim. Normally you have 2 options here. You can either bull your way through to the other side through sheer willpower. If you have a good enough reason, or maybe you're stuck in a 3 or 4 year program, you'll probably get through to the other side. Second, you can give up. Follow the majority of learners who get overwhelmed and they just quit. These people join the ranks of all those other people who say that Chinese is too hard. I see this so much and it annoys me. It's not the learner's fault, but instead because of the old-fashioned methods used to teach Chinese in general and the characters in particular. If you've ever had to write out a Chinese character 100 times by hand from a vocab list, you know exactly what I mean. It's old-fashioned, it's inefficient, and there's no wonder that people quit. So these 2 routes into Chinese, they seem pretty hopeless. You can either stubbornly fight through using every ounce of your willpower, or you can give up. Now here's a third way, a more sensible way. First of all, forget about the characters for now. Focus on spoken, communicative Chinese and get a grip on the pronunciation and tones before overlaying an additional layer of characters. There's plenty of time to learn characters, so don't worry about delaying a few weeks. When you do get to the characters though, take your time to understand them. How are they constructed? What are the different types of Chinese characters? The logic of the characters and how characters are grouped together to make up words. Then take this knowledge and apply it systematically. Most importantly, there are 3 levels of Chinese that we need to know about. There's the components, the characters, and the words. Once you grasp these levels and how they interact, the internal logic of Chinese begins to reveal itself. Did you know, for example, that around 90 to 95% of Chinese characters have hints buried inside them about not only what the meaning of the character is, but also how to pronounce it? It's called a sound meaning character, and the vast majority of Chinese characters have these clues built into them. Follow the link below and you'll find about 30 minutes of me talking about the sound meaning characters and why they're so important. And those are the 3 video lessons. It's not enough just to know about the characters though. We can take this knowledge and then we can systematically apply it to speed up how fast we learn the characters. There are a huge number of techniques out there that are much more efficient than rote memorization and paper flashcards. Personally, when I encounter a new character, I do the following. 1. I break it down into its components. 2. I use the components to create a memory device. This memory device helps me recall the meaning, the pronunciation, and the tone. You might have heard of mnemonics. Mnemonics is a fancy word for memory device. 3. I feed my new characters into a spaced repetition system, or SRS. An SRS is like flashcards, but on steroids. You're shown the flashcard at just the right time before you forget it. This memory bump at just the right time is the most efficient way to shift information from your short-term memory into your long-term memory. 4. I use SRS to review characters, trying to recall their meaning, the pronunciation, and the tones using my mnemonics. If I can't remember, I don't just push it to the back of the queue, I relearn the character or the word. This means creating a whole new mnemonic and not just hoping to remember it next time. 5. Every week, I remove a certain number of words or characters from my SRS system, content that I am now comfortable with, and I use this content to write example sentences. I send these example sentences to lang8.com. It's a free service where you can get native Chinese speakers to correct your written sentences, and then I use these sentences in communication with real Chinese speakers, either on iTalki or HelloTalk or in real life face to face. HelloTalk in particular is a great new app for language exchange, and again that's free. 6. Any new content from this usage loops back into the top of the system. I break down new content, I create mnemonics, I use SRS, and then I use the new content in speaking practice. This learning loop is the basis of what I call the sensible Chinese character system. It's taken me years of trial and error to nail the system down, and even longer to work out how to help other people start to implement the system. When I was learning the characters, I used this method to learn 75 to 100 new characters per day, with 90% retention 7 days later. And this was about 2 hours of study per day. You can find out more at the blog article attached to this video, where I go into a whole bunch more detail about all the knowledge you need and then how to set the system up for yourself. It's a big, long blog post, so I recommend bookmarking it. Click the video or the link below to head on over to Sensible Chinese and see if the system can help you learn Chinese characters in a more efficient and fun way. Thanks.